okay?
Yeah, fine.
Good
Go.
to
We're good to go now.
Okay.
Were there some other things that we had to tweak, like you talked about that along ES, like near the Elliott Farm there, that one corner that needs to be added into the other area?
This corner, is this the corner you were talking about, Bruce?
No, yeah, that right there, that's sure.
Did you draft for that already?
All right?
This is the existing?
Yeah, that's existing, yeah. It needs to be changed in his.
So we do need to make a change from that to
I will
institutional.
amend my motion to accept this particular name for Southwest with the caveat that the little triangular piece be appropriately reflective of the change in ownership.
Which is government and institutional, right?
Yes.
From-
government and institutional back to whatever that merge name is.
Yeah, okay.
Are we closed for discussion?
Is there a second on that? We'll bring it to discussion then.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
Well, the only discussion I have, we talked about the other area with the multi-use that allows multi-family, which would allow multi-family housing, would allow senior housing, it's multi-use, it's a community within a community. We're talking about the area that is the hardest place to get services to, because that's what we were told. And in terms of the number of acreage that we've talked about, this is a significant amount of acreage here in the whole area. So is the other area. Are we saying that this section here is, why are we keeping this as higher density? I'm just curious, there's no other place.
Because no one's made a motion to amend it, is why. Which would be the appropriate, the motion that was made by Gene can be amended to reflect changes, because the committee, right, that's why it's still like that, because the committee hasn't, I think you have members here that would vote to approve the plan as designed, and you have others that would make changes, and until you guys vote on it, Bruce and I literally have no idea beyond the people who spoke what the opinion is. So,
Still the concern though, that it's left single family, the expense and who that goes to, if the road goes through.
correct, that's conversely, it's the expenses split among less owners of property, less density, and less taxable value of development, correct?
Can you read that one more time, John?
So if it's a single-family development, and the road goes 1,000 feet, and each parcel has to have 75, or let's call it 100 feet of frontage, you have 10 homes, right? And there's a margin of profit for people who buy lots, turn them into residential, and resell them. That scenario will equal X amount of dollars. No matter how you divide it up, something at a higher density has a higher, not profit margin, but they have more units over which to spread the burden of the cost of the utilities, which is all on the developer, in that that trickles down to the people, whether that's, right, the reason the Orchards is selling at 65 a lot as opposed to 45 before is because the cost of construction has risen, and therefore the costs are being passed along to the people who buy these lots. So
$350,000 home versus a 300.
that's true. I'm just saying there's an argument to be made that higher density gives the developer more wiggle room with which to pay for the development. It's the same reason we had residential developers asking us to consider the smaller residential lots and the smaller frontages, because they can get more property owners along the public infrastructure that they're building while still providing the same size lot. So that's one argument. The other argument against that is the developer wants to build it and they're going to make money, they're going to pay for the road. Whether it's zoned multifamily, single family, or otherwise. I mean, these are the things you guys have to weigh out.
Can I ask a question of Pastor Roberts? I think this way. Pastor Roberts, I know you've recently shared with me your long-range plan for your properties. I briefly saw the plan. But would low-density multifamily on your adjacent property be more commensurate to what you want? Because low-density multifamily allows senior housing, as described. Would that be fitted to your plan for the area better?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Well, you made two asks. You've asked to keep it at R3, and then you asked for it to be rezoned to single family. We're just trying to figure out where on the scale is the tipping point.
Because you did indicate to me that you're thinking about small complexes, senior style housing or assisted living, on your site. So that's probably how, for example,
Jason's line.
you know, I'm also the planner in Dousman, and, you know, the Masonic, statewide Masonic Lodge is their base of operation there, and that's called 3 Pillars. You know, but they have, their mission, they have senior housing. I'm sure it started out as a small complex, and over the years has grown into a large complex. And what you're telling me is I'm kind of envisioning maybe that's what's happening with your holdings, that you are purchasing additional properties. I know in this last few months, maybe within the last year, you purchased additional property. You yourself, but I don't know if they purchased, or your family purchased additional property. But I don't know how that fits into the overall plan for your site.
Well, the senior, I guess we could call it, we had approved from the village of, from the town of East Troy, a proposal of what would we call that? Assisted living, okay? A 4-unit assisted living with 6-unit senior living, okay? A 1-story situation that would be located on 20-some acres, okay? And the rest would be open property, okay? That is our future vision for that property. So we are not thinking of a large complex. If I asked how many people here are Baptists, you know, we probably maybe have, except for the people here, we probably won't have anybody raising their hand, you know, because that would be within, you know, those jurisdictions. So, very limited, no high-rise, very isolated. In fact, the church owns the 10 acres jointly between the church and that proposed thing, and so it's more like 30 acres of property. One ingredient that hasn't been discussed here, this is on the map either, is that there is a huge floodplain in that whole property that is called R3. And if you look on the floodplain map, that floodplain is about 200 feet wide. And we're talking about putting a road through that kind of property. And who is going to build on unbuildable land? That's a good question. And we're talking about financing a road. So, I mean, those are some other aspects of it that I think ought to be considered. The other aspect is it can be put on the map as R1, and if there is a specific issue in the future, well, then it could be brought before the village, and there could be brought before the planning commission, and but it's a whole lot more difficult to go down than to go up. And so I feel like having it at R1, and by the way, I'm not proposing to live by myself in the country, because my vision is for all this area to be R1. I was just talking about it being compatible to the area and to the church and to the intermission between the two areas. And of course, across that whole area across the field, I envision that would be compatible to a church and school, etc. Hope I answered the question.
Just for everybody's information, when Pastor Roberts refers to R1, that's basically the 15,000 square foot lot size minimum land use district. So everybody understands what is being talked about.
What is the current land use? Not what you have up there. What's the current land use?
Transitional. The current is transitional residential,
Okay.
which is the R3 with the zone right now.
I certainly would go backwards beyond that with the property owner and their representation.
Any further questions?
Yeah, you have a motion and a second on the table.
Yeah. further discussion? Anybody want to offer an amendment? Okay,
The existing property or existing zoning is R3, I guess.
And they requested the R10. The
And
property
the current landowners requested the R10.
correct. And the adjacent landowners requested R1.
And I guess I still have an issue with our definition and what's more intense that we're transitioning through where R3 seems to be.
transition also interstate.
I just don't see anything more intense, but what we would be creating would be the most intense part of the whole thing. That doesn't seem to be a transition to anything, it seems to be a step up.
The flip side of the coin is when the Baptist church property develops, maybe that's the transition. I mean, in this essence, we're forcing the transition on the property owner who didn't request it.
I mean, as you say, it's the most intense, it's still not that intense.
And,
And it's not even our 10 or our 15.
Well,
so anyway,
if you go with the current zoning, it relates to the low density multifamily.
R5.
And the R5, what we propose to be the new R5 district. Right now, we're showing basically the medium density multifamily, which relates to the current R10 or proposed R10 district. So just so you're aware of what the dynamics here, what
So we're
you're
looking at dumping what we currently have.
And
If you look immediately east of where this is and look at the prior map, that is probably much more intense. If you look at the bright pink, which is low
And
density
the
business commercial.
railroad track and
Yeah, so it's there is a railroad track in between there, but if you put these two maps together,
so
that
from
is the transition.
a practical standpoint, an amendment to the motion has to be approved by the person who made the motion, otherwise we vote on that and then either votes or carries. If someone makes a motion, that gets seconded, then the motion to amend the motion is voted on, and then the motion is voted on. Does that make sense? So last thing said always gets voted on first, and then we work our way backwards to the original motion.
So it's based on,
I guess I would like to make a motion then, if this was the time for it, to maintain the current zoning at R3 and have
You know, five.
the low density.
the low density designation for it.
So that would require a second and then a vote, and if it passes, it becomes an amendment to the motion, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Clarification, Jason, though, is that only the property that's R3 now, or the adjacent property to the south, because this is L
I
shape?
actually got the tab on the bottom,
Yeah,
that was ag.
no, that's also low density. It's sort of not as
It
multi,
says A1 on the old map,
yeah,
so it was agricultural.
but the property in question is right here.
Yes.
That includes that as well? Because you were talking, this is the property that's currently zoned R3. I just want to make sure, so when we come back with the maps, after, if your amendment proceeds, I want to make sure everybody's aware of what,
And that's the one owner,
no,
it's a separate owner.
yes.
But part of that is not.
hold on,
we have
hold on,
one-
hold on, hold on. I want to clarify this here real quickly, okay? So we have the motion and second on the table. John, are we to vote on that and then make the amendment? We'll talk about the amendment first. Jason, could you clarify your amendment a little map one time so I know what you're saying? I just want to make sure I'm crystal on this.
I guess I thought they were together.
So everything that Bruce currently has is R10, you want R5. All of this, or just this.
Or on the other side of the street. I just want to clarify, so I clear my mind.
I guess not knowing now that they're split parcels, I guess I might have a different consideration. I don't know exactly what's in it. There's, it might be small lot, single family right there.
Okay.
Who owns the bottom portion?
Pastor Roberts.
Oh, okay.
And that's agriculture right now.
Pardon?
It's ag.
That's A1 now.
So that is his parcel. So his say. on
It's
what
not
it
the
is.
church's, it's his.
Well, that,
His personal goal was to be R1
Which piece?
for the split,
Okay.
the southern part.
actually one of P1.
So north of that, we would stay and keep that R3,
R5.
R5?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess
R3 right now.
I would make a motion that the top parcels would maintain the low density multifamily and
Yeah.
and the pastures, the parcel south adjacent to the church. So we got so many different single families.
Do you guys understand here? Do we want to clarify that, Frank?
Bruce is drawing as you're talking through it.
Did you read the triangle that you're talking about?
I'm getting the impression we have two motions. Well, two parcels there. I know, but there is.
Okay, so Jason's saying to take that yellow area, Bruce, you put that square, that Pastor Robert wants below that, we're saying let's put that piece there as a R1.
Okay, so that'd be the dark orange color.
Okay, and then above that would remain as R3, correct?
Yes.
R3, 1, R5.
Right, R3 is R5.
Right. Above R5.
R3 to R5. Right.
Yep.
We do land use, not zoning.
Right, correct. The land use is.
The land use.
So is everyone clear on what the amendment is?
Yes.
If you vote for the amendment, you're voting to turn this piece here into the 5 units per acre multifamily, and this piece here into single-family residential. Okay? That's the amendment. If the amendment carries, that's what Gene's motion will reflect. If the amendment doesn't carry, it'll be Gene's original motion to accept this as drawn up. Clear?
Okay.
With
And
the little
with the
caveat on the
changes.
little-
Right.
We got that, we got that.
You should do a roll call.
Yeah.
Ron, can I ask a question of you? That's what you wanted the R1 to be on your piece that you currently own?
Actually, no.
Please say concisely, clearly, in a
Okay.
small amount of words.
What I am desirous of is that whole light yellow be R1 as a whole, not the R3 become an R5. That's exactly the opposite of what we want.
All R3 is R5. The committee's already approved that.
R3?
All R3 is now R5. All of it.
Well, let's stick, yeah, as Jason just said, let's stick with the land use category of low density multifamily up to 5 building units per acre. Let's not deal with the zoning district. That's down the road.
I don't think it makes, I don't know, this is what that
We have a definition issue that when he says R3, that's the same as R5.
He's referring to the zoning category that will no longer exist once we approve the comprehensive plan amendment.
The new definitions we made, Roger,
He said
we're
we're the
superseding
same,
them.
we're the same definition.
Does Jason's amendment have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Okay. Gina, you prepared to do a roll call?
I am
Is everybody ready to vote?
Susie Bachbar.
Confusing, what for the second?
You're voting on Jason, the split goes up as a
We're just
percentage.
make the whole thing low density multifamily, correct?
No.
Which is a 3 per unit? 5.
Just, all right, I'll clarify one time, we are voting currently right now, we are voting on to make, that this will be essentially R5, and this would be R1.
Okay, well, that's where.
Yeah.
That's what the current vote is.
Got you.
Okay, I'll see.
I agree with the second that we just proposed.
Linda Berger is not here, Paul second.
No.
Tom Harthauser.
No,
Joe McAdams.
not here.
Oh, sorry. John Miners.
No.
Mary Katz.
Nope.
Here, Gene Schultz, no. Roger Walsh.
Yes.
Jason Wauser.
Yes.
Shelley Jurgens.
Not here.
Oh, sorry. Bruce
We're not voting on
We
this.
don't vote.
But Fred, do you vote?
Yes.
Fred votes.
Here. So I have 5-4.
5-4.
Amendment's defeated, which leaves the original motion on the table to be voted on.
Okay,
Suggest another roll call vote.
okay, we'll roll call vote this. This is, essentially taking this as presented with,
With this
Yeah,
being
yeah.
changed to the orange,
yep,
okay?
we're understanding that.
And then everything that whole yellow then remains.
Yeah, so,
As shown.
Five.
Okay, go ahead.
Susie Bauer,
No.
Paul Siteman,
Yes.
Tom Cartgozer,
Counselor, yes.
John Myers,
Yes.
Mary Katz.
Yes.
Jean Schultz, yes. Roger Walsh. Jason Wanzer.
Nope.
And that's it.
Fred?
And Fred, I'm sorry.
No.
Five, 1, 2, 4.
So this map carries by the same vote?
Okay.
Okay. Should we take a break before we go to the next topic?
Sure, yeah, please just take a 5-minute break, we'll come back.
should we ask a question before the break?
I don't want, you can come up here now during break, and just talk. Okay, we'll call me back to order here. He stole my stuff.
Why? What's on this map?
Okay, so we're moving on here to, agenda item number 8, village staff presentation for land use considerations for the Memorial Park area. Generally along Highway 83, north of County Road NN, in the northeast planning area, generally along County Road NN, County Road DS. Bruce, John, take it away.
Okay, I'll just, excuse me again, quickly run through this. This is the current land use map for this area. Within this key area on the north side, this is Highway 83. Basically, the bottom of the map is County Truck Highway NN. The top map is, I was just talking to a gentleman here, just north of Lapine Court on the east side of Highway 83. But the top line is the boundary agreement with the town of Quantico. So that's any land that's not in the village in this area will be in the village ultimately. Again, either when developed or divided, or there's some sunset, some like 20, 30 years off in the future will be in the village. Don't remember exact date. But the red line is the property, within this red line, the properties that are in the village. There's a piece of property just west of Kiwanis Park that's not in the village. The Garden Center, Garden Mart, I think it's called, is not in the village right now. So there's some things here that we need to talk about. I'll point out some thoughts about, and we'll get into discussion. But quickly, Highway 83, the current plan shows it commercial. I'll show you a map in a moment that shows 8 acres that the village purchased. Behind that map, that area, to the south and the west of that 8 acres, the property owner has talked about and requested, or excuse me, a representative of the property owner has asked for more commercial. In my opinion, it could go either or. Could be commercial and or maybe multifamily, but then single family as we go further to the west. For everybody, I think everybody that lives in this area knows that this is the Fairwind subdivision right at that intersection. One of the question marks that I'm going to be looking for you is on the Gardmark property. As you see, we show commercial on the front. This yellow area is actually because of, we no longer have the transitional residential, but which relates now to the low density multifamily district. But this was shown as transitional residential on the current 2009 comprehensive plan, the yellow. So that question is, do we want a buffer of maybe low density multifamily, which could be side-by-side condos, or two side-by-side single-family homes, or commercial all the way back? This is St. John's Church. That's institutional. What do we do with, this is the Douglas property. I mean, what do we plan for on the Douglas property, which is also shown as transitional residential right now? And the Kiwanis Park, which is a park, we hope it will remain open for forever, open space. However, things don't stay forever in land use. What would be the alternative land use at that corner if they ever decide to sell? And I suggest we might want to talk about that a little bit. East side of Highway 83, basically all commercial already, up to north of Quick Trip. And we've talked, at least the staff, at least up to the river or the Small Creek, make that commercial as well. Because it is planned, even though it's quite hilly back there, that street between the dentist's office and Quick Trip is planned, which is Marsh Street Drive, to extend north. In fact, that was condition of approval getting the intersection with Black Bear and Highway 83 with the Department of Transportation, that they wanted to make sure that we had plans for Marshview to be extended to the north, because it's sort of like a frontage road, and that would eliminate driveways along Highway 83. Gentlemen just talked to me a little bit before. Options on the properties here, Lapine Court, large properties, which fit into our estate single-family area, but is there potential for maybe frontage for commercial? So he can address that a little further. Going into what's kind of the genesis for this whole process of the Chapman property. I'll show you this map. So you get some background. The base map here is a plan from May of 2005 that was submitted to the village as a preliminary plan for the development on this site. This is Fairwinds Drive extended that would come out of the Fairwinds subdivision. Based on this preliminary plan that went in front of the Plan Commission at that time, the developer at that time asked for and received rezoning to R10 to this point, to this potential future expansion road. So this is currently all R10 right now. I'm not saying it has to remain that way, but that's R10. Obviously, from the village standpoint, we want the commercial along Highway 83 frontage to be shown as low-intensity commercial business. Some other things with this plan as well. We know there's a wetland in the middle of this site that's identified. The land on the west side gets very hilly and wooded, heavily wooded. That's a candidate for single-family conservation subdivision. And just for perspective purposes, the multifamily project that was proposed didn't get to any formal application, but was being proposed at one time, is shown in the brown here, just so you have perspective of what was going on in this area. I'll go back to the map on the screen, the current comp plan map. So quickly, some other things. To the north and to the west, more land that has good topographical relief. Again, candidates for a single family with conservation subdivision, maybe the higher level, the 37,500 square foot lot size ranges for single family. On this triangle here, and I know a lot of people here this evening are from this area, and you all received letters from me inviting you to this meeting, and I thank you for your participation. It's really, really good to see everybody. Right at the corner here, this has been shown on our comprehensive plan map as, let me just quickly glance at that, as transitional residential. And I know the owner was someone representing the owner is here tonight to talk about it. There's been talk for putting multifamily on that site for the last year and a half, 2 years. And doesn't show up, isn't recognized on the current land use map, but there's a church in this area. I think 2 churches. Yeah, 2 churches, right? Yeah. One is in the village, one isn't. One was just annexed about a year ago. And so we keep that single family up to this corridor, and then here is showing more larger lots, single families in the current plans. One thing, I don't know, the property owner was here, he's come in and talked to me a couple times. Of this corner, which is kind of off the beaten path in this north side neighborhood, but I included it because it's kind of like a project that we should talk about, so I added it to the north side. This is shown as single family on the 15,000 square foot lot size on the current plan. It's not in the village, but to be within the village in the boundary agreement area. It's surrounded by the minor subdivision, what's called the minor subdivision. But is single family still appropriate at this intersection, or partial code multifamily? I'm not saying one way or another. I don't have any preconceived thoughts on that, but just pointing it out to you for option purposes for discussion. Any questions? I know I quickly ran through this. Any questions about just the background of this area? Okay, in this neighborhood, the discussion, I'm looking for feedback, direction. We're not expecting a vote on this tonight. We'll bring this back. Based on your comments, we'll get the map in the proper colors with the new land use designations, and we'll bring it back for your review next meeting.
So of this area, we're looking at what landowners are asking for what?
Well, the village would be asking for low-intensity business on this 8 acres. Well, 6.2, the right-of-way is the rest of it, but this is a total of 8 acres with the road, 6.2 of that.
Can you just work that on that map?
But roughly everything from there to the
Okay. And the village is seeking that.
low-intensity commercial.
Now, is it solely on that parcel?
Yeah, that's
I know
it.
I heard
That's it.
discussion about broadening that or
The
something.
Chapman family, I don't see their representative here. They are at some point going to ask, whether it's tonight or later, that the commercial be extended to all of this acreage, which still wouldn't bump up against this yellow line. It'd be to about here. And we can get you a better map. But they would ask to create a second layer, a second buildable layer of commercial here, and then along here. Some of this is commercial, some of it isn't.
Is that currently zoned R10?
It's currently zoned R10. It's all currently zoned R10.
Right. Are there any other requests?
Nope.
And then-
Not from the Chapman.
Okay.
Tom, can I ask just one question?
Yeah.
If they do that, if they do want to get the commercial there, are they looking, let's say that is residential next to it, are they talking about having like an in and out road to that commercial from the Chapman farm?
Okay, I'll orient you. So we're coming in on this road.
Well, yeah, imagine you're at the west edge of that new commercial line.
Here.
Yep, go up a little, that's straight up and down, right there, keep
Yeah.
going up and down. Are they talking about having a road going into whatever's west of there?
Here?
No, west. Yeah, so if commercial builds up to that line, are they talking about having a road going into a subdivision, or are they talking about like you'd have to come on 83 to get to whatever commercial that is?
Well, I think that's a discussion for the board and planning commission, right?
Okay, I didn't know
Here's what we can tell you. Someday, Fairwinds is gonna connect with Chapman Farms.
Get that. I just didn't know about if, you know, if you guys, if they decide to move the commercial line, you know, obviously there's an impact there.
I just shooting from the hip, if this developed as multifamily, we probably require 2 access points right away. If this is all just developing as low intensity commercial, perhaps the road isn't extended until something happens here. And I do want to stress that the Chapmans also aren't asking to do anything specifically west of Fairwinds. Haven't asked for any changes, no nothing, leaving it R1. So the only ask that we've gotten is that this committee consider commercial, and as I said, when Bruce does the map, you can get you a better line, but that would still leave just a sliver, and we could do that acreage, but a sliver of R10, which is probably ballpark estimate less than 10 acres. So you're talking the remaining multifamily in that area would be somewhere between,
like 5 acres.
yeah, would be somewhere between 40 and 50
Well, yeah,
units.
maybe 5 to 10, yeah. No, okay.
I'm just doing max calculations. 5 to 10 acres, 10 units an acre, you're somewhere between 50 and 100 in total, and that's if they build this whole,
And with the narrow strip, probably
less.
realistically a lot less.
And that's again, if the committee's willing to consider moving this commercial line back here. I guess the one thing I would say as a staff person looking at this, there's not a whole lot of new commercial available on that end of the village. And some of the commercial that is available is more over by the Pick and Save, and there's not a public road, which would be that green area acreage. Yeah,
Could you put Fairwinds on that map?
this one,
Yes.
this area here.
No, the road Fairwinds you said is
Ah.
coming up, right there?
Yep.
That's the one coming out of the high school entrance there?
Correct. Yes. Which would eventually meet with Chapman Farms Boulevard, which is going to come through.
Thank you.
And then eventually, all of these roads would be designed to plug in to Chapman Farms as it extends westward, providing access to the north.
Did you mention earlier there's some land in this area that belongs to the village?
This block of land right here.
The red one?
Yes.
So that's directly across from the quick trip.
Correct. Yes.
I didn't hear what you said.
Do you want to know if that the village?
The village-owned land is this red,
Okay, it's already owned by the village.
already owned,
About how much land is that?
6.2 acres.
6.2 acres. So there, looks like if they extended, maybe add 3 acres?
This would be 4 acres here, and this is already commercial here, so it's a total, it's about 5 more acres, somewhere in there. 4.8 makes it almost 10, a little over, it's somewhere in there.
Let me just point this on here, just so you, where this area to about, this line is about 6 acres in this area, 4 acres there. There's another piece of property right in here, there's a house on it that's unincorporated down in town, in Quantico, but we should be talking about that in conjunction with this lane, because they're all part of the same system in there, on the south side of what was gonna be Chapman Farms Boulevard.
So
Opposite of
may I
Bradford.
suggest that next time we come back, you've got that color coordinated really?
Well, that's what we're asking, is that an appropriate place, just like we did with the interstate district, we bounced ideas off the group, we kind of said, yes, we like that, want to put that up there, or no, we prefer you go about it this way. So, I mean, if the group is so inclined, we receive consensus, we can bring a map back showing commercial to this point, R10 between future Fairway Boulevard running north, and then the rest of this as single family.
Right, and then that, just for the benefit of the audience, the R10 is to be our buffer from commercial to residential.
Correct.
Does that give you enough of a buffer to really buffer?
Well, there's going to be physical and visual buffers. All of our proposed developments, commercial developments up here, anyone we've ever talked to, they're going to have berms and trees, and we're talking probably between 15 and 18 feet of visual.
What, so with that parcel land that the village owns that you have highlighted in red there, how would that, the access, you have to have that boulevard and that road there?
We're designing this now. Yeah.
So you need to have that to make use of the extra commercial that the Chapmans are requesting?
Someone's got to build it, yes.
Right.
Yes. So we're building that. A couple reasons. One, there's a lot of traffic being generated at that intersection now. 2, our chief has expressed it's a safety concern. You can put 35 miles an hour wherever you want and then hope people drive it. We had, was that a fatality at this intersection here? Yeah, we've had a fatality here recently, so we're in talks with the DOT to add right turn lane into here, just like we have for Quick Trip, and then a full intersection with a full lighted stop. And we're in the design process for that. We're still, right, it's an ongoing dialogue, it takes a few months. But so that's the plan, and then this leg of the road will be built.
And a couple like that, this access point, see the arrow here? Approximately at this location will be the next entrance. The Department of Transportation will not allow any access points between there and there. And the next one beyond that is at the ultimate northern boundary of the village, up from here, like adjacent to Lapine Court, or across from your street.
And think about the way we design the access points. The right in, right out for Quick Trip is also a shared access with the Dewey property to the north. It was designed that way, it was built that way. All of the infrastructure was designed with the Quick Trip, which should be right about here across the street to service both of those properties. Mr. Dewey had, I mean, he was very clear about his intent. It was to someday that property was going to be commercial and part of the village. Other questions about this area?
Yes. My question.
Yeah.
I am the border there, and when they came through with Highway 83, they took a half an acre of my land, and now you're proposing that you're going to go through my land again?
Where?
Summerall, Justin Driver?
I don't understand the, how are you
Across from
proposing?
the-
Oh, here, right here, right here.
Lapine Court,
Yeah, right here.
that's my driveway.
Okay.
When 83
That's what
came
you're
through,
proposing?
We're not proposing.
If
The
you,
Department of Transportation is proposing the intersection there.
but if we agree to make that commercial,
Sure.
then the DOT is gonna say, okay, then we have to put a road there. So you may not.
is that be the major
proposing it,
access?
but-
Then, or if it's a single family, if you ever sell it for development, that's, for our planning purposes, we look at where the future access points are going to be. The major access point.
So no one's taking it. We're not just going to come in and build the road and take your property.
Yeah.
But we
They've never
have,
done it before. They're saying that they're gonna have to have an access.
I understand you're upset, but we're talking about the State Department, right? It's not us. We're working with them to help facilitate where the next access points can be, and they largely dictate to us through their site distances where they can go. And those are separated by 12 to 1,500 feet. It's like it's a state regulation. So certainly willing to work on your behalf. We worked on behalf of the property owners on the south end. Right, we talked about the south end of the map at the last meeting. We showed the next 3 access points. We can certainly talk with them about moving those around. That largely is dictated to us first, and then we have to not fight them, but we have to negotiate with them.
But am I correct in thinking that nothing would happen until a developer comes in and wants to buy some land?
Land has to be sold or subdivided, so if the owner of the property does nothing, nothing happens. If the owner of the property chooses to subdivide or sell that property, that's when things take effect.
Right, but if the owner of the property just south of me decides, which is my father, if he decides to subdivide, then the road would go through.
Conceivably, there would be a point of decision where the road could be built, yes.
So if you're gonna build north of Fairwinds there, currently the Fairwinds residents pay for the maintenance of all that green space. Is the village gonna take over that?
You talking this?
That, well, that's Parkinson's.
Right, so which green space are we talking?
There's
This?
one in there, and the ponds there, and then there's like that little green spot, I don't know what you call it.
Here?
Right there, and, yeah.
So what's the question?
I'm saying that presently the residents pay an annual fee to maintain those areas.
Mhm.
So is the village then going to take over that maintenance?
No?
Will always be the HOA.
No, you guys will
So
continue to
then-
pay for the maintenance and will continue to be maintained through the homeowners association.
Okay.
We're not going to develop this. Another private developer is going to come in and develop more single-family homes.
Well, I hope he wants to join the association then.
Talk to the guy in the orange polo.
Tom Chapman says that to us.
There you go. Any other questions?
Go ahead.
You're gonna annex that, and you're gonna allow them to build all those houses in there, and then you're not gonna plow the snow in there?
This?
No, we do.
No, we do. We don't take care
They
of
plow
it.
the street, they don't maintain,
The
like
grass.
it's a
The grass.
green space area.
Stormwater
And
monitor.
there's a private,
Yeah,
like a bicycle path.
we plow all the streets now and we'll continue to do so.
And there's a.
Yeah, okay. Others, I saw their hands in this area. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the northeast corner,
Help orient me. North,
The
east.
pink cord.
Lapine Court.
Right
Yeah.
here.
You see the lake there?
Mhm.
Yes.
That's my property. The lake, the whole thing around it is my property. If I wanted to sell it, I couldn't sell it. A developer couldn't use it because it's mostly marsh. And it would be of, even if I had said, oh, I want to sell this property, because I only have one lane road to Lapine Court. My property is on either side of it. So my property is isolated, Tom's property, and there's another property back there. I mean, it would be probably gain the Friends of the Vernon Marsh would not be happy with you. There is no building possibilities there.
Not with us. The person buying the land and proposing to build something.
Okay, on the marsh.
Yeah.
No, not over the mark.
So what do you think we should do with it? I mean, we could.
No, I'm just saying, I don't think it should be allowed to be annexed into the village, because I don't think it would be of any benefit.
That's in the boundary agreement.
It's within the boundary agreement.
I
Ultimately,
know it
will
was
be
in the
the
boundary agreement, but I don't.
We as a committee don't get to dictate that. That's-
No, I'm just saying, I don't think that any, Waukesha Conservatory or Friends of the Vernon Marsh would be very pleased.
And I honestly can't answer you why the township at that time decided to make those lands part of the boundary agreement. It
Yeah.
predates, it's not a
Well, it was
clubhouse,
part of a section,
but
and it
whatever they
just
can.
happened to be in that section. With my little one-lane road as
Sure.
the line.
Well, the area I'm outlining with my pen right here, that's basically the Glen McQuanigo property,
Mhm.
but they're only building on the upland, they're not building.
I know, but there's still,
So
one
then
in the marsh.
that's all protected. In fact, it's even a different zoning district, it's a public zoning district, even though it's under, same thing as Fairwinds, it's under, as a common ownership of all the condominium owners. And there's, in the deed restrictions, there's requirements that the village may sure put in there that that's gonna remain open space for perpetuity.
Yeah, the neighbor that has an artesian well, you know, and he would not be pleased to have to pay for city water.
Subdivided, sold, or you come ask us. Those are the triggers. If you don't ask and you don't change the use, it does not come into the village.
Yes, sir, do you have a question?
Yeah, okay, I'm a neighbor of Mrs. Shrine. I have 3 acres. We have another neighbor with 7 acres. And then Mrs. Shrine has, 16 acres. It was a 26-acre square, it's owned by my family. And then we're separated from the highway by about 700 feet. There's Bill Madden owns the property that would be from Highway 83 back about 700 feet. That's just vacant now, that's where the old basement house was.
Okay.
Now, my question is, we have a 3-acre, 6-acre, and 16-acre lots back there. What are your plans for the east side of Highway 83 from where that creek is? You can see the green border there, north to the section line.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, that the committee would give us direction
Yeah.
as far as potential land use. You know, one option is executive style, single family.
Yeah, I think that would be better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see.
Commercial.
So we're all clear. Are we talking about this piece up here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We wouldn't want to see commercial back close to the marsh border.
Oh, one person did tell me before they went, read it. So that's why we're here, that's why we have a committee,
Well, I
because
was saying, I
it's
would
a balancing
prefer a
act.
single
It's a
family
balancing act here.
in front of, property.
What's, is there anything, in the village planning as to what's going to be done, on the east side of 83, north of that environmental corridor, that creek there? Yes, that's my question.
Well, right now, we show it as
Yeah.
agriculture and large lot, single family.
Oh, okay.
Which,
in the books, I think is what he's asking.
oh yeah, what's on the books, which is equates to
Yeah.
the large lot that was executive style, single
So the
family.
committee makes no changes, it stays large lot, single family, executive style, single family.
Okay, I'm glad.
There's no changes being asked.
Yeah, I came across some plans, I don't know, a number of years ago that had multifamily in them.
Okay.
No, okay.
So we have, just so we'll summarize this, I think we're getting to the point where we can transition to this last part of the meeting here tonight. So the only things we're talking about right now is the village's piece, the go to commercial, and then a little piece behind it as well.
The Chapman piece, and then I think Tim has something he wants to say on behalf of Bolinski, who is working on plans for the diet, right? This corner's about 2.5 acres right here, which under, just to give everyone under how the comprehensive plan is currently being recommended by this committee, anything outside the interstate planning district or the Main Street district is capped at 10 units per acre. I think that kind of kicks us off on what
Because we had made a proposal, I think, for 32 units on that
it
piece.
was about 12.5 units per acre.
About 12 and a half, and that was probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Then we got caught up with the whole Toronto proposal, and so we couldn't move forward until they moved forward, and that's why we're here.
So they're which was actually, isn't it permanent? How far are we in the actual process with Lindsay?
They actually submitted a plan,
So,
we did not proceed because of this process.
right,
It
and
didn't meet the zoning.
the current comprehensive plan at the time they applied, it even exceeded that because in our comprehensive plan it said approximately 8 units per acre.
So what was the ask on that piece?
12
Well,
and a half units per acre, is what it was.
You technically can't zone it based on the rules that this committee has made for what Bolinski is asking to do, because you can't exceed 10 units per acre.
So what's the ask then? Is there?
I would recommend the medium density multifamily.
Can you point out the exact area?
It's this red line, down to the purple line, and over, and that's,
Probably
Delhi.
highway double E.
That goes over right to the church. Across the street.
Isn't that the church one?
It's the corner of the church.
No,
Across the street from the church.
and then this is the school here, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, high school, edge of the high school, student parking lot, and double D is right across from it.
So it's across the street. This side.
Signals are there at the interstate.
Okay.
Double E, double N.
But be on the right side. of the church.
Okay.
You're gonna break your, no higher density outside of those 2 districts, or the question being asked. The door you tried to slam, that's what I'm saying. So, I think, I'd like to hear more from the committee. Because
We would have to do a higher density there?
well, what you would have to do is, one, remove the line in the comprehensive plan as presented that states that higher density than 10 units per acre is only going to be restricted to the interstate planning district and the Main Street River South district. And then,
Hold on, real quick, me.
then you would
I'd like to
propose,
give John, please hold Corey, go ahead.
then you would propose putting it there. Does that make sense?
Say it one more time.
You'd have to, the comprehensive committee, this committee right now has a draft descriptor of our zoning districts, and taken together, that states that nothing above R10 can exist outside of the interstate planning district or the Main Street River South district. You with me? Nowhere else in the village. Bolinski's currently proposing something that would exceed that threshold in a spot that exceeds those areas. So if the committee is inclined to do something on that parcel with this proposal, you would, one, have to get rid of that line that states you can own high-density multifamily will be constrained to these areas, which can be done. You can rewrite that line to include other areas, or do nothing, and then from there you can decide what to do with that parcel. And you would either be opening up the door to higher density, or you'd be keeping it at 10, and then that will largely decide what happens with that parcel. I suggest you start with Jason, he lives there.
Go, Jay. Come on, Jay.
Tom, are we still taking
It
comments?
just seems to be very backwards, going beyond 10 at the very least. And
Sure, hey, you guys set the rule.
I don't know what.
I don't care what values are.
Tom, you take in comments still for us?
Yeah, we want a second here, just want to talk to the committee, we'll get to you guys for sure here. I mean, I don't want to start picking rules this early.
No way.
Got to.
Come back with a plan that says R10, that's my vote. Not to exceed R10.
I mean, quite honestly, as a school district representative here,
Thank you.
we're gonna have a lot more traffic on Athens East right now. We're not really trying to bulk up. Those 16-year-olds drive fast
Like
enough.
16-year-olds.
All those things that are already there, you wanna add more people to the party, I'm kind of thinking, I don't know. I'd like to know a little bit more.
So you'd be reducing it from 32 to 25. Well, not you, you're not doing it, but the necessary reduction to the developer would be from 32 units to 25. It's roughly 2.5 acres, I think.
We're moving in the right direction. It's gonna take some thought, and I'll definitely speak to the school board and superintendent here, but it's something that I mean, that's my singular vote on behalf of the district speaks like that. That's
So I
what
hear 3 people for not changing.
I'd like to consider going down to the small lot, or the small, what do we call it here? The low density multifamily.
You know, 5? Okay.
Yeah, it's not, it goes with the same point that I had with the Baptist church. There isn't a higher density use there. We don't have an industrial park across from the railroads. So that's kind of my catch. And as what I've seen, it actually doesn't look bad from the Valinsky end of things. And but by definition, I'm kind of on a different page with saying that that's our time.
Other from the committee? Tim, and then comments. Do you have anything?
Yeah, all right, let's go ahead.
Okay, one more question. East of Highway 83, the Chapman property, he's got a cornfield down there.
Right.
Yeah,
What is that?
East
I
of.
think he means west.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got a cornfield there.
yeah, there's a,
Never, right,
Oh, yes.
yeah, this is the north of that.
Okay,
right there, right.
What is that?
Large lot, single family.
No, wait, it's, no, it's shown on the, see that map because we had a transition from the old to the new. It's shown as transitional residential,
And what is that?
which is the old, we equate out to our low density multifamily district, or designation.
On the mark?
Pardon? Well, not in the mark, no.
No, I know,
What's-
it's bordering.
Yeah.
Well, just like the one is as well, correct?
Correct.
Yes.